Welcome to Achiever, the LanguageCert International ESOL B1 level spoken qualification. And it, of course, focuses on the candidate's spoken skills. This exam consists of 4 parts, all of them assessing language based on practical experience and everyday English. The candidates are initially asked to share personal information, and then during the second part, they are asked to participate in a situational role play. During the third part, they participate in an interactive, communicative task, along with their interlocutor. Finally, they are expected to produce a long turn after they've been given a topic and some time to prepare their response. Follow-up questions conclude this last part of the exam and the spoken exam itself. The exam setup is friendly, as each candidate is examined individually, not with another candidate. The session is led by an interlocutor who does not assess the candidate but conducts the spoken exam in accordance with all LanguageCert regulations. The whole session is recorded in digital format, uploaded to our examinations platform, and sent to a fully trained independent LanguageCert assessor to be marked. Remarking is available whenever required, and the pass mark is an overall 50%. Part 1 aims to initially set the candidate at ease and elicit personal information. The first 2 questions, which aim at eliciting the candidate's name, its spelling, and where he or she is from, are not assessed. However, the next questions are assessed, and the candidate will be asked between 3 and 5 more questions. Part 1 lasts 3 minutes. Part 2 requires the candidate to take part in a situational role play. The aim of this task is for the candidate to use functional language in a range of real-life, everyday situations. The candidate is presented with 2 or 3 situations, and both the interlocutor and the candidate need to produce approximately 2 turns each time. The duration of Part 2 is 3 minutes. In Part 3, the candidate and the interlocutor exchange information in order to perform a communicative task. The interlocutor informs the candidate that they're going to discuss something together and find a solution to a problem, or make some kind of arrangement helped by some prompts. Part 3 lasts 3 minutes. Part 4 aims at assessing the candidate's ability to speak about a selected topic at greater length, with minimal participation by the interlocutor. The candidate is given a topic, asked to prepare a response in half a minute, and then talk about it for 1.5 minutes. Then a few related follow-up questions conclude the exam. The duration of this 4th part is 3 minutes. A few sample questions now. As previously mentioned, Part 1 aims at setting the candidate at ease and eliciting personal information about him or her. Remember, the first 2 questions, which aim at eliciting the candidate's name, the spelling, and where he or she is from, are not assessed. However, the next questions are assessed. The first assessed question asked may relate to sports, and he or she may be asked whether all children should do sports at school. Then the interlocutor will proceed with a second question taken from a second set, which in our case here relates to communication or correspondence. And the question might be, for instance, whether he or she has ever written a letter and to whom. The interlocutor will go on with the third question from the third set, and depending on the time left for this part of the spoken exam, they might ask a fourth and a fifth question from the fourth and fifth set. The duration of this part of the exam is 3 minutes. Part 2 requires the candidate to take part in a situational role play. He or she will be asked to take part in 2 or 3 situations. Both the candidate and the interlocutor need to produce approximately 2 terms during each situation. The candidate needs to ask or respond according to the interlocutor's instructions. The interlocutor chooses a situation from a set, reads it out to the candidate, and the candidate responds to it. Here is an example where the interlocutor sets the following situation. We are friends. I start. Thank you so much for your help. You saved me. The interlocutor initiates the situation, and both the candidate and the interlocutor need to produce approximately 2 terms. Then the interlocutor provides a second situation, where this time it is the candidate who has to start. An example of the type of situation initiated by the candidate this time might be, we're neighbours. You are having a party at the weekend. You start. Here again, both the candidate and the interlocutor need to produce approximately 2 terms. If there's time left, the interlocutor may present a third situation, which might be taken from the first set of situations or from the second set. The duration of this second part of the spoken exam is 3 minutes. In the third part of the spoken exam, the candidate and the interlocutor need to use language to plan, arrange, or decide on a plan. Here they are required to imagine that their English class is bringing out a school magazine and need to decide what to put in it. The candidate is provided with a task sheet with some prompts. 20 seconds to prepare his or her response and then start when ready. The duration of this part is 3 minutes. The last part of the spoken exam, part 4, is a long turn and assesses the candidate's ability to speak at greater length with minimal participation by the interlocutor. The interlocutor chooses a topic, for instance, a trip you would like to take. The candidate is provided with a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, and also 30 seconds for preparation. The topic is repeated to the candidate before he or she starts preparing his or her response. The duration of the long turn needs to be 1.5 minutes. After the candidate's response, up to 4 follow-up questions will conclude the spoken exam. Follow-up questions could be questions like, how do you prepare for a trip? What are the main reasons people travel nowadays? Which is more popular, booking online or with a travel agency? You can find more information about our spoken exam in our qualification handbook on our website. Candidates are assessed in terms of 4 criteria: task fulfillment and coherence, that is, the candidate's ability to manage the task adequately for the level and link the utterances into coherent speech. Accuracy and range of grammar, in other words, the candidate's ability to demonstrate a range and control of grammar. Accuracy and range of vocabulary, which relates to his or her ability to demonstrate a range and control of vocabulary. And lastly, pronunciation, intonation and fluency, which measures the candidate's ability to connect utterances, maintain the flow, and engage in effective communicative exchanges. Candidates are awarded up to 3 marks per criterion and collect up to 12 marks. The candidate's raw score out of 12 is translated into a scaled score out of 50, and successful candidates are those who attain at least 50% of the overall scaled score, that is, at least 25 marks out of 50. If they do exceptionally well and collect more than 34 marks, they will be awarded a high pass. Here are some pages from the Interlocutors questions booklet, the 4 pages on the left. And there's the candidate's task sheet on the right. For more information on this component of the exam and for support materials, simply follow this link.